Erica Lorraine Spencer here. This is the P.O.C, Pattern of Conduct, real-time documentation of the state of California's criminal pattern of conduct of federal stalking in concert with the people of the state of California in violation of existing federal law, that is 18 U.S.C. section 2261A, subsection 1 and subsection 2. This is ongoing documentation that is specifically gathered following my release from kidnapping by this entity that was ceaselessly monitoring in violation of 18 U.S.C. and in violation of Title 15 and in violation of the Prison Rape Elimination Act, as I was subject to the same exact criminal pattern of conduct while kidnapped by this entity seeking to conceal this criminal system that I am documenting and publishing and exposing on the venue of the internet, where I am also subject to the criminal pattern of conduct, and understand that kidnapping is the pattern of conduct that is criminal obstruction of justice, as the entity seeks to avoid prosecution and to avoid documentation and exposure for engaging in this criminal system. The people of the state are the vicarious aspect of the entity. They are engaging in federal stalking as I am kidnapped by the state inside of the state facilities, all right? And they are fully engaging in kidnapping upon criminal summoning. So this is the this is the entity from beginning to the end engaging in the criminal acts of the federal stalking and the acts of criminal obstruction of justice. This is also documentation on the venue of the internet engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct via obstruction of justice, and this is in any way reducing or removing the ability to publish the ongoing documentation of the state's criminal pattern of conduct, which is waging an ongoing threat to my life as I remain subject to this criminal system. And this is the criminal pattern of conduct on the venue of the internet, okay? And that is the totality of what I have documented since release. I was kidnapped from June 18, 2021 from third-party facilitating venue of the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, where the Ontario Police Department were monitoring, and this in conformity to the ongoing wealth of documentation that I have already published, specifically revealing the Ontario Police Department engaging in monitoring and kidnapping, which was via the assertion of a fictitious warrant pursuant to a fictitious prosecution. That is the people of the state of California v. Erica Lorraine Spencer, case number Mary Wendy Victor 2000640. I was subject to kidnapping pursuant to this fictitious prosecution, documentation on the facility cameras everywhere that I was inside of the facility of West Valley, located at 9700 Etiwana Avenue in the city of Rancho Cucamonga, California, and at the state facilitating venue of the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court, located at 8303 Haven Avenue in the city of Rancho Cucamonga, and I was subject to federal stalking ceaselessly at the jail, at the courthouse, in the courtrooms, okay? The same exact pattern of conduct ceaselessly underway. The kidnapping serves obstruction of justice, and that this is kidnapping that I endured from June 18th, 2021 up until August 16th, 2021. This is the P.O.C.
It is 6 a.m. and the state is engaging in repeated patrolling via plane, train, sirens, an amplified sound of third-party traffic, and this is the same ongoing behavioral pattern. This is the P.O.C, and this is also the terrorism. This is demonic, and that is the terrorism that the state engages in, flying directly over the museum, and this is substantially amplified audible activity while it does so. It is 6 p.m. It is 6:04 a.m. and the state has been doing this all night long. That's P.O.C. (6:12 a.m.) (6:14 a.m.) And now that I am recording, I understand that this is loud. The state was doing it even louder than that, okay? But it's 6:14 a.m. 6:21 a.m. And this is the maintenance of audible activity the state is monitoring and engaging in stalking and surveillance. That's the significance of this, in addition to what is harassment, while it is engaging in the amplification of such audible activity. That's P.O.C. And that is also the sound in the train. 30 seconds ago, the train was sounding a horn 4 consecutive times, just like this, at a loud volume, where no train is in motion on the tracks. This is audible activity. And I want to be clear what the state is doing. And like minions like to argue, oh, it's the Ontario airport. They're coming from the Ontario airport. The state is engaging in, and I put this in air quotes, taking off over the museum. Okay? You are coming from a far distance from the airport to then lower in elevation and feign a takeoff over the property where I'm at. In addition, this is the exact same pattern of conduct everywhere that I'm at, engaging in a takeoff over Woodside Senior Apartments, engaging in a takeoff right in front of, above, or in behind the vehicle that I am inside of. Engaging in a takeoff inside of any public venue that I am inside of. You are looking at what is the state engaging in hovering in helicopter. And you've also seen in video where the state is flying very far away and it is amplified in sound, maintaining that same level of volume. This is audible activity creation for federal stalking. It is terrorism as the demonic entity engages in this behavioral pattern. This is what the deputies of the jail would engage in overnight as well, in violation of Title 15. It's demonic, and it's federal stalking conduct. That's P.O.C. It is 6:42 a.m. All right, the state is acting as though it's not acting. The state is engaging in what is a takeoff. And again, the state is doing this through its audible activity, because in reality, if, for example, you were coming from the Ontario airport, you would already be at a higher elevation, taking off from the Ontario airport, and you would not hear it. And you're talking about the substantially loud audible activity that the state maintains while it is stalking in aircrafts. That's P.O.C. It's 6:45 a.m. This is supposed to be a takeoff right here over the museum. No, I'm just speaking to what is the scenario proposed by who are third-party group stalkers and state actors. You have seen in video the state hovers over the property where I am. The state hovers over me in aircrafts, and that is what the state is doing. While it is also engaging in literally playing the tape of a sound of planes at a very loud volume, like it does play the sound of a tape of traffic at a very loud volume. While the state is engaging in ongoing creation of audible activity, maintaining artificially created audible activity at a substantially loud volume. In other words, like the state stalks with a fake sun, the state is keeping surrounded with audible activity. But I am even speaking to the untenable position that you're coming from some airport and it has nothing to do with stalking. You are flying at a heightening elevation as you are leaving from the airport, the Ontario airport, and as you proceed to fly west, you are talking about being at an increased elevation. The state is necessarily flying, okay, and you're going to entertain that. You're coming from the airport and then you are decreasing in elevation to hover over the property and engage in a takeoff again. Even that is speaking to the ongoing targeting conduct, and that is not what the ordinary conduct of flying airplanes is engaged in. All right, the state is engaging in blatant stalking using airplanes, and that is clearly seen in my video footage and in my podcast. And this is the ongoing maintenance of audible activity. This is engagement in what is stalking via aircraft, and it is translated into what is terrorism, as the state is doing this everywhere that you go, at all times and at all places. And by deputies in the jail, what I mean is they're not pilots, they're not flying airplanes. They are engaging in that same demonic behavioral pattern. This is the maintenance of a terrorizing environment while they maintain the criminal elements of monitoring even late at night, times of sleeping, where that facility is supposed to be maintained as a tranquil facility. All right, in violation of Title 15, while the deputies acting in concert with the state that was engaging in the same conduct of keeping me surrounded with artificially engineered sound, all right, while direct light is permanently present while I'm there, and maintaining a substantially loud audible activity inside of the cell, and the deputies are on camera in relevant position both in the unit and outside of the unit, entering in with simultaneity to anything that I'm doing, the same demonic behavioral pattern, and the state was keeping surrounded with audible noise, loud amplified noise inside of the jail cell while I remain. And this is at all hours, chiefly while at nighttime hours, late at night, early in the morning, just like the state is doing now. It's entirely demonic. Okay, this is a demonic impulse that the entity is engaging in. It is a desire to just engage in harassment. All right, this is also the criminal elements of monitoring. It's audible activity while you are perpetually pacing in aircrafts. It's demonic. Okay, and I just want to speak to that. It in every way is speaking to the ongoing targeting conduct of the state at 6:50 a.m. That is amplification of third parties, and again, that's artificial activity. Louder than it actually is. 6:50 a.m. It's just noise, audible activity. Stalking by the state. Demented stalkers. That's P.O.C. 6:51 a.m. Just 6:52. Just maintaining noise. (7:08 a.m.) 7:10 a.m.
7:19 a.m. 8:01 a.m. They're creating audible activity in the method of amplified sound of supposed to be cars that you're hearing revving their engines, amplified activity in plane engines while the state is monitoring what I'm doing on the internet, doing it with simultaneity to my operation while they are actively engaging in obstruction of publication. It is 8:01 a.m. This is with simultaneity to my operation on my communication device. So as I'm sending information on the internet, on my cell phone, creating audible activity, this is how you're monitoring. It's 8:03 a.m. And the state is engaged in stalling internet, interruption of access to internet, and interference with the ability to operate the internet on my phone.
All right, it's Amtrak right now, but at 30 seconds ago, what the state used to fly over is a government plane. I've captured it in video several times already. I mean, over the years. I've captured it plenty times. It's the small plane with a thick middle body and short wings. Appears to be white. The state is flying over the museum and amplifying the sound of this train. Again, the state is making artificial noise as it is patrolling via vehicles, the people, patrolling via aircraft, and patrolling via train, okay? Literally stalking on the train tracks, and the state also using that method of activity when the train's not even in motion. But the state is using that because there's a train track in Rialto. I'm in Ontario. And that's what the state is doing. So this is all manner of relevant positioning. This is the stalking entity. As a group, it is stalking in the path and maintaining noise, all right, while the entity is also stalking with light, okay? It is 8:13 a.m. All right, I just documented the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department engaging in federal stalking outside of its doors of the facility where they were engaging in kidnapping and federal stalking inside. And let me be clear, it is the absence of coincidence. I'm speaking to what is a pattern, okay? It is the absence of coincidence, regardless of any form, which is legally irrelevant. This is how an entity monitors. That as I am dictating, reciting in real time and documenting the state engaging in federal stalking, that same department that I was giving you an example of engaging in that same demonic behavioral pattern is stalking in relevant position on the opposite side of the museum at 225 South Euclid Avenue, and is present in relevant position at 150 East Hope Boulevard, the health center, where I am. I spoke this morning about the state stalking and engaging in this demonic behavioral pattern of pacing and substantial noise while they're engaging in federal stalking while I was kidnapped at that facility. That the Sheriff's Department is here monitoring this morning on that same morning. That's not a coincidence. That is a demonic behavioral pattern. This is what the entity continuously engages in. Okay, I also want to point that out. And aside from that, that's the demonic aspect. Okay, these are demons. Literally, you say their name and they appear. Okay, that's exactly what Amazon Prime does. I speak of Amazon Prime, they appear. Okay, you're talking about that which is of the demonic. While, by the way, regardless of your ability to compute that, you're talking about what is the engagements in the criminal elements, period. The pattern of conduct is underway. You are monitoring. You happen to engage in that visibly for me to document. As I also mentioned you, that's the absence of coincidence. That's my overall point. So with regard to the state stalking, as I'm documenting it by plane and by train, and you have the Sheriff's Department, they engaged in multiple acts of kidnapping while that deputy is engaging in what is laughter while he, and I just want to speak to what is an unnatural and unheard of an unnatural reaction to what I am speaking, okay? And he's sitting there listening to it in relevant position while what is ongoing? Plain activity. Patrolling traffic is light activity. The group stalkers that are in the parking lot, they are using their vehicles. That's light activity. The vehicle, the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department vehicle, that is providing light activity. I want to be clear. The state engages in enhanced light tactics via a fake sun over my head, directed light that creates all manner of peculiar light activity, which is light that is unnaturally occurring, creating double shadows. You're seeing light where it's supposed to be in the shade. You're still seeing your shadow. Those are enhanced light tactics, in addition to what are peculiarized light, as I have termed it. Everywhere that I am going, documenting what is flashing light. All right. This is the maintenance of what is called light activity, making light dynamic. I want to be clear. Those are enhanced light tactics. Light in and of itself satisfies the elements of monitoring. The more I documented, the more intense, the more aggressive the entity became. And that's when you're seeing what is directed light. That's when I am aware of what is a low hovering, glob of light that is over my head everywhere that I go at all times during the day, remaining over the building where I'm at, okay? This is where the more aggressive that the entity became. But I want to be clear, the element of light is present right now, and that is the satisfaction of the elements. But I have documented the state going beyond just ordinary light. The state engages in enhanced light tactics, and that is what directed light is. That is what the state's light source is over my head, okay? So I want to be clear. The elements do remain present. There is no deviation from the pattern of conduct, and you have what is a deputy representing that entity that is engaged in multiple acts of kidnapping, which, by the way, is not funny at all to them. because they were engaging in desperate acts of trying to kidnap and conceal this very activity that they don't find funny at all that it's being published on the internet. You're talking about what is that you can't see, okay? And it is uncharacteristic as well. But what you are actually witnessing is a demonic actor. This is demon possession, as I'm exposing it. And you are talking about that which is of the demonic, laughing at that which does not find funny at all, okay? But this is the outward conduct, all right? Laughing as though they are unbothered, laughing as though they have nothing to be concerned about. These are demons, okay? They are the same ones that engage in the creation of audible activity, stalking with noise, under all the same environment, and then act as though they are shocked when they're being documented and you're monitoring, you know exactly what is ongoing. That ongoing established pattern of conduct has already established that. So I am speaking to what is the behavior of demons, and that's what you witnessed by the Sheriff's Department. Okay, and that is ongoing terrorism. While the state is engaging in that via Amtrak, that's going to be prosecuted for that. You're talking about the state that's stalking via aircraft, pacing via aircraft. That's federal stalking, and it's demonic. Okay, and then you have what is the Sheriff's Department loitering in relevant position, acting in concert with the Health Department, which I've shown you the fake sun over their venue all day long. Okay, so that's criminal facilitation by this venue, and Allied Universal engaged in that as well. Hi, can I use your restroom? Thank you. It's 8:40 a.m. All right, it is currently 8:56 a.m. and what I also want to document is you're going to recognize the pattern, okay? Yesterday, and again, you're talking about what is law enforcement. The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department is law enforcement that are in relevant position to me while I'm on the museum grounds, first of all. But you also have what is the presence of law enforcement at a venue where I am documenting what the entity is exceedingly hostile to. So, for example, yesterday, while I'm at this state facilitated venue of the public health clinics located at 150 East Hope Boulevard. And you have the state engaging in an ongoing stalking, not only by aircraft and helicopter, but via police, Ontario police, which represent law enforcement. But I want to be clear as to what I document and how this demonic entity responds, okay? This translates into what is terrorism. The entity is exceedingly hostile to documentation. And so what? You're going to prosecute. This is showing policy and the necessity of that policy and how the malice with which the entity acts when you are understanding what are demons, okay? And I want to document just real quick. Omnitrans, stalking in relevant position, and the state is patrolling via Euclid and Hope Boulevard traffic, okay? This is P.O.C. It's 8:57 a.m. I'm standing at the intersection of Lemon and Hope Boulevard. It is Omnitrans bus number 2354, creating light activity and loitering in relevant position. The state is monitoring, as I've already shown. That's P.O.C. And so with regard to the presence of law enforcement, as I arrive at the venue where 150 East Hope Boulevard, all right, first of all, they were already stalking in the path while I'm on the museum grounds, and I'm there documenting and also speaking of that entity, right, 8 TBX 262, I believe. And I'm also speaking of that law enforcement agency, that department, engaging in the same exact demonic behavioral pattern while they were engaging in kidnapping. And they are present in relevant position on the opposite side of that museum wall while the state is patrolling via train, all right, and via plane. And while the state is also patrolling via the people of the state, understand, don't forget that. I'm just speaking to what I am documenting on my podcast, and that is the use of the train, interstate commerce, use of planes, interstate commerce to engage in federal stalking. And this is also law enforcement that's in relevant position at the state facilitating venue, that is 150 East Hope Boulevard. And what did I document yesterday? I documented sexual violence while federal stalking is underway inside of that private space. That is the bathroom where the pattern of conduct is ceaselessly in process, okay? The state does not stop to recognize or respect your privacy. While your panties are down, they're still engaging in surveillance. They are still engaging in stalking with the path and stalking with light. And they are doing that inside and outside of that venue in relevant position. Again, monitoring with communication devices spans a radius. It is beyond the venue that I am particularly isolating for purposes of seeing and witnessing the criminal activity that the entity is engaging in on a massive scale. That is what is speaking to the use of a fake sun. All right, and the stalking with light conduct. All right, that is also demonstrating the aggression of the entity that is hostile to its being documented and ultimately prosecuted. So, like with regard to what I documented yesterday about the state facilitating venue, as they are sex offenders, and I documented sexual violence again while federal stalking is underway, and you have the next day in relevant position while I happen to be documenting. Understand, I was documenting. In other words, I was documenting the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department while I'm sitting on the museum grounds because they are stalking in the path, engaging in that criminal conduct that I'm documenting while the state's flying over our planes. The Sheriff's Department is standing on the opposite side of that wall.
And it is the same thing with any license plate that I recite. They are one entity acting together. So I happen to go to the opposite side of the museum. I go to state facilitating venue, the Ontario Public Health Clinics at 150 East Hull Boulevard, and to find, and this is intentional, this is an intent to threaten and terrorize by law enforcement that is engaging in not only federal stalking, have engaged in repeated acts of kidnapping, which they find entertaining and funny, all right, on camera, but not when they are going to federal prison, okay? You're dealing with demons, arrogant, proud demons, all right? And you have what is the engagement and presence, the absence of coincidence, and this is the pattern, the presence of law enforcement, this is supposed to be the strong arm of the entity, okay? This is supposed to be that intimidating force to shut you up, to strike fear, to terrorize, in other words, after you are documenting the entity engaging in P.O.C. So as I document what was objective engagement in the criminal pattern of conduct inside of the private space, entering in and creating activity, as I'm documenting what was the creation of artificial activity through the wall, then you have a group stalker enter inside of the bathroom and create activity, and I document that on the internet as what it is, okay? That's sexual violence, the sexually motivated aspect, while you're engaging in this criminal pattern of conduct that exceeds monitoring with communication devices, because this is a demonic targeting system, all right, inside of a private space. You have law enforcement that arrives the next day. That's exactly what happened with regard to City Hall. As I'm documenting that state facilitating venue where the state's pattern of conduct is underway, they are in relevant position, and I have also documented that venue where the state's fake sun was over the City Hall for the duration of a day. Literally, as I sat there, and I did that on purpose, documenting on the surveillance cameras, showing that the state's light source is engaging and remaining where I'm at. And for the duration of the day, the state's fake sun remained over that on City Hall, while also it engaged in what is the intent to terrorize while I was documenting, 7ZUC 571, while I was documenting, and that was the arrival of the Ontario police officers that have engaged in kidnapping, and they intentionally arrive in order to threaten and terrorize while I'm documenting on those surveillance cameras of the City Hall. As I am documenting this state facilitating venue of City Hall, what do you have the next day? The Ontario Police Department stalking. All right, visibly, because they are always stalking in relevant position. All right, they visibly make their self present in order to terrorize. That's the intent, and this is the demonic behavioral pattern. Okay, I want to get a license plate 05905K2, and I want to get this document. He's got a yellow jacket on. He's digging up a hole in the concrete as his form for stalking in the path in relevant position. He's wearing a yellow jacket, and he's the one that I got on video. They were monitoring while I was inside of the bathroom. All right, I just wanted to capture that real quick. What is, again, the absence of form, but that which the state uses to engage in presence. And you're talking about what is presence on behalf of a government, not presence that you can maintain under your First Amendment rights to do a job. The state's criminal pattern of conduct is underway, and that is what is superseding, and that is how you are prosecuting a government that acts vicariously through the people of the state of California. And so anyway, what I'm speaking to was that pattern by the state to engage in stalking directly via law enforcement, and that is the intent to terrorize. Both of these actors engaging in repeated acts of kidnapping, and they are tethered together by that very specific lie that is the claim of a warrant and what is a fictitious prosecution. All right. And that is fact. That is documented fact. While he is sitting in the car laughing at what he knows is not funny, you're witnessing what is demonic activity. All right. And the outward form is laugh at it, so it appears as though it's ridiculous and you're unfazed and you're not scared. This is the mentality of the entity. This is why they engage in that. OK, believe me, they don't find it funny at all. That's actually fear. And you are also witnessing, if they found it funny, they wouldn't have engaged in such desperate acts of trying to kidnap me, because it was kidnapping. All right, they had absolutely no right, and they all claimed a very specific lie. That's a very specific lie that ties the state together. The court lied, engaging in a fictitious prosecution, claiming a warrant. The Sheriff's Department lied, engaging in a fictitious prosecution, claiming a warrant that you don't have. And the Ontario Police Department lied, claiming a fictitious warrant in a fictitious prosecution. Why? Because of the very thing that I'm documenting. That's why. And they don't find it funny at all, believe me. All right, it is 9:05 a.m., 8LWL 181. 8GEO, I can't really see that one, 8MGX 523. What I am speaking to is, and it is necessary. It is relevant context because of the necessity of understanding what is the demonic and how that is terrorizing to the ordinary targeted individual that is subject to it, where a government is practicing it. And if the government is practicing it, that in and of itself is unprecedented. And the government is practicing it in concert with the people of the state. Okay? That is terrorism. All right? And let's get this one, 4Z XF 595. And that's why it is important to recognize, and what I am pointing out, it is beyond mere context, because this is the criminal motivation, this is the criminal intent behind what is federal stalking by the government, which is supposed to be concealed because it is rooted in that which is of a source that you can't see. Demon possession, which you can't physically see on those San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department deputies. But you know them by their conduct. They're engaging in the criminal elements of monitoring, and this monitoring system is satanic, while they are maintaining group presence in the path in order to monitor, in order to stalk, maintain presence. That's demonic. All right, while they are engaging in that ongoing behavioral pattern of stalking with light, that ongoing maintenance of the environment, which is a demonic environment. Everything about the conduct that they are engaging in is revealing that which you cannot see on them, which is demon possession. Okay, and that is what I am speaking to, and that is relevant to what is the terrorism. So 7NCX 491, and it's 907 entering into the B&G Plaza crossing path. So you have what is I just want to make sure that I point that out, that ongoing pattern by law enforcement. And that's exactly what I have pointed out with regard to the state's pattern of conduct. It is the hallmark. Okay, stalking by the state, that's direct action. The state engaging in stalking via law enforcement. The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department represent law enforcement. The Ontario Police Department represent law enforcement. Okay, it is 9:08 a.m. and that is P.O.C. 6V22172, 5LPH072. 8XBR835, 8MLV452, 7XQG724, 6ETPO13, 55376E1, 8CKX233, Siemens, SIEMENS, it's a commercial actor, monitoring 8VPD021, 6KQH160, stalking with light, 8J06558, 7HDH892, 7VXU590, 8JLD112. All right, this is the parking lot of the City Hall, and what I took pictures of are group stalkers that are maintaining presence in the parking lot as I walk through. So you've got one walking to their car, you've got one sitting in the car, the African-American female, you have a male that I believe is a Latino male, and he is sitting in his car as well. They are maintaining presence as I am in movement, right? And so that is P.O.C. That's what I documented. And Siemens is a commercial actor, and they are in relevant position monitoring as well. It's 9:22 a.m.
All right, it is currently 12:10 p.m. And what is going to be observed is a picture, and I'm answering the question as to why I took that picture. It's a picture of the wall above the business and copy center, the doorway where you see the hand sanitizer dispenser. You see a picture, and it says AmeriCorps is recruiting, and leaves that of construction paper. This wall, as I look at that wall, I'm walking toward it. As I walk toward that wall, as I walk toward the trash can is where I'm going to. The state directs impossible light. These walls of light, square-shaped directed light, is flashing on the wall as I approach that wall, because the trash can is right there underneath the hand sanitizer dispenser. And the state is creating light activity, flashing light on that wall. This is white colored for, I guess you could say, like
fluorescent colored light in the shape of squares. This is what I've described inside of Starbucks as walls of light, because they're like square shaped walls, and it's dynamic light that flashes and it is moving. And this is appearing on the wall right there above the picture as I look in that direction. Okay, so first of all, this is speaking to the psychopaths that surround. All right, the state's directed light, as I've already documented, is present. Everybody has more than one shadow in here. That's the state's directed light. The state is aiming light onto the elevator, onto the staircase. That's directed light. The state's fake sun, its light source is over this venue. That is the ongoing presence of the state's light source, in addition to the stalking conduct that I continue to document to and from this venue and everywhere else that I go. This is speaking to what is demonic, and that is stalking with light conduct, literally, as I look in a certain direction and the state creates light activity. That is terrorism, as they are all engaging in presence on behalf of the state. So what is being documented on the surveillance cameras is literally stalking conduct, and this is how the people engage in surveillance. This is how the people engage in group stalking, because they are present not in their individual capacities. They are present on behalf of the government that's aiming its directed light inside of this venue. And that's what I just documented again, a picture of that, where you see the employee. She's a female. She's sitting at the desk working the computer laptop area. And this is Ontario Over Family Community Library. I understand this is terrorism, and this is ongoing presence on behalf of the state. So you are understanding what group stalking is. They are manning the path in concert with the state, and everything about the environment is speaking to the presence of the state, right? And so this is the very absence of any First Amendment rights to be present, and this is the prosecution of the people that are, as you speak, here, working. Guess what? While they clock in for work, it's documentation of their criminal activity. It's proof of presence in concert with the state. And that is what I want to document. That's what I took a picture of. And I want to be clear, the people act in concert with knowledge. This is demonic activity. And you are dealing with what are psychopaths, all right, engaging in what is hostility to documentation that they're monitoring, okay? So I want to speak to that, and that's going to the ongoing terrorism. That's going to Ontario Over Family Community Library, because that's who I'm prosecuting, and they are acting on behalf of the people. It is one entity. And that occurred again at 12:10 p.m. as I am on the surveillance cameras walking toward the trash can, and the state is engaging in that act of terrorism, of flashing light, an ongoing indication of a threat, while the state is engaged in all manner of stalking conduct in concert with that, and the people engaging in that ongoing concerted effort as well. And I want to be clear, what you are witnessing is demonic activity. While they are outwardly looking as though they are focused on something else, and the ongoing environment is maintained for their criminal purpose. And this is how demons conduct themselves when they're engaging in malicious conduct. So you are witnessing what are psychopaths, because that's exactly what it is. It's P.O.C. It is 12:13 p.m. at Ontario Over Family Community Library. 8KVM 487, hazard lights on in relevant position in front of the entrance as I exit, and sirens sound with simultaneity to my exit. All right, that is P.O.C. Stalking with light, molesting with the state with its fake sun right in front of the entrance, and also with the state that's sounding sirens. Stalking with audible activity, stalking with light, stalking in relevant position. That's P.O.C. 8WSV 989. The state's light source is remaining in alignment with the vehicle as I am being driven around subject to monitoring as Tracy Banks is driving me around. The state's light source is remaining in alignment to the vehicle and to the venue. I'm currently at the 99-cent store that's on Mountain Avenue, and it is 6:52 p.m. Also sitting at the light of C Street and Euclid Avenue. The state flies over C Street, headed south over C Street in helicopter, and group stalkers, that is the people of the state, are lining in the street and stalking with light, in addition with the state's light source. It is currently 6:52 p.m. That Ontario Police engaged in stalking, acting with 8RWN 874, license 1516961, vehicle number 1876. Stalking on Euclid Avenue, traveling south on Euclid. On traffic cameras right now, it is 7:11 p.m. Okay, it is still September 2nd, 2021, Thursday. It's 10:38 p.m. And while I remain inside of the vehicle at 630 North Fern Avenue. The state flying over by helicopter. The state molesting while I'm inside of the car, covered up. I'm in the dark. The state is aiming inside of the vehicle in order to touch, going out of its way to touch, to harass and to terrorize as I am reviewing my podcast, while third parties are engaging in that ongoing group stalking with the state. So I'm going to document third parties, 6YOX838, and they are all engaging in this conduct together. This is gathering of ongoing names that are part of the same entity while the state is touching and monitoring with the help of the people of the state. 8NAW854, 7JYE564, 6ZQY129, 6TCX765, 8J24665, 8DXE180. And again, the pattern of conduct is ongoing. So I just described what the state's been doing while I've been sitting in the car. That doesn't stop. I'm walking outside now, documenting third parties, and I am currently being stalked by the state via aircraft. That's amplification. The helicopter is flying right in front of me. And I am also being molested with directed light. That is ongoing, day and night. 5YVY873. That is the direct evidence against that third party. There's no separation between this one, who I happen to have the ability to identify via license plate, and the group stalker that drove past me 5 minutes ago, where the state was aiming and molesting me with directed light while I sat in the car. It's the same entity, okay? 7JJM385. And this entity is monitoring to that creation of amplified audible activity via helicopter. Are you getting my point when I say that the people of the state are surely to be prosecuted? The state is up here at 630 North Fern while I'm walking down the street, flying in a helicopter over my head. All right, I did capture that. And yes, the state literally, this is the idiot that and there's no other way to describe it. If you are talking about having any sort of attempt to have an argument that you're not a stalker, that you're not engaging in what is unprecedented criminal activity as a government, why would you follow from place to place to place in a helicopter? 8W23699, 4XEZ709. 1C53471, license plate 7RXG036, license plate. And as you keep hearing that audible activity, that is direct evidence against 78TU947 and 7RXZ919 and 5HQE019 and 7BTJ448, 62259P2. All right, like I said, I don't have to make up anything. Just like the state was aiming light, impossible light inside of that car while both the front and the back windshields are covered up. The state is aiming light inside and molesting me with its engineered light while the group stalkers are driving past. That's concerted conduct. While the state is amplifying plane activity and helicopter activity, and like clockwork, the helicopter is flying over my head while I'm up here at the other opposite end of Euclid Avenue. I'm up here by 630 North Fern Avenue. That's the direct evidence, okay? I don't have to make it up about a fake sun. I don't have to make it up about directed light. I don't have to make it up about the state stalking, about demon possession, because that's what this is at its core. That's what it is. And it is unprepared for that prosecution. It's going to be dragged in court. 7GUZ123. License plate 7XUE070. It's just unintelligent. It's just not smart, okay? It's just not. It's just not. Certainly not prepared to answer in court, because this tape is going to be played. 7HWG140, in addition to the ongoing wealth of evidence, and that is the state that is maintaining flying back and forth over Fern, just like it did as I documented in 2019, just like I did as I was documenting in 2020, all right? And it's 2021, and the state is still engaging in this conduct that I have long documented, all right? Just like I published on a couple days ago with regard to law enforcement. This is federal stalking that I have been documenting for years. This ongoing conduct is that same conduct that I was documenting before I knew that there was a term of pattern of conduct, but the state engaged in it so much, this established that pattern. You are literally at this point, like I said last night, embarrassing. The entity is embarrassing itself. That prosecution is sure. There's not enough coincidence in the galaxy. The state is a stalker, okay? And that's exactly why I just went down the street reading all those license plates, because as they're patrolling, the state is aiming directed light on this house. Yep, they're all stalking together, and it's demonic. That's why you go around reading third-party license plates. The target individual shall document whoever is in the path, because the government is monitoring, and they represent the government. License 4NLA 797. Because these minions are driving by and the state's aiming light all over the place, and the state's flying in a circle right now. License plate 8WWP 625 BY11949. I already documented him. 7YAK 814. These are all stalkers. 7WON 118. License plate 8MAU 764. And of course, let me see, 6VBD 532 54683C3. And third party facilitating venue, of course, is monitoring, located at 636 North Vine, 8DEA 293. And again, one entity engaging in terrorism together, one entity engaging as a sex offender together. There is no separation. The people of the state are stalking in that helicopter with the state. 6JRN991. Right? That is the pitfall of group stalking. That's the pitfall of a public entity engaging in that system in concert with the people of the state. They are the face behind which, well, the state isn't hiding anymore. The state has been put on Front Street. The state is an idiot as well, flying over my head right now as I am getting out. If my allegations are so unfounded, not only would they not be engaging in repeated acts of kidnapping, why would you get out and fly in a helicopter? I mean, this is just common sense, okay? This is free legal advice. That's just not smart. It's just not smart. But the state, understand, we're beyond that. I've got years of this, day in and day out, of stalking in a helicopter. There's not enough coincidence in the galaxy. And so you are going to prosecute. The people are going to suffer for that. They are not victims. They're acting in concert with it. And every single last one of them are going to be prosecuted as a matter of justice. So I just want to document that. And that was the provision of the sort of documentation that I need. That is the substantiation for going around and getting their license plates. They're in relevant position. And this is ongoing. The fishbowl is being maintained via directed light at nightfall. And the state is directly stalking via helicopter as I'm out there documenting. Okay, it's P.O.C. 10:47 p.m. Thursday, September 2nd, 2021.